All right, we are recording. This is Jack. Kayla, I just opened your script and I'm going to read it. So the idea is imagine a reader at a studio or at an agency or something reading your script and reading it out loud in so much as that person is giving audio commentary while he or she reads it. So this is sort of what would be going through the thought of somebody like that. All right. I try to be respectful but constructively critical. On that note, the first thing is I see that it is in a doc file. It's not in a PDF, which is problematic right from the beginning because I could go in here and I'm sure figure out a way to change it. So definitely send it out in a PDF. Second thing, this is may seem minor, but I think it's important. The font seems really light, like it's a thin font. I mean, this looks like normal, but that's bold. So, and on the title page, you should not have it numbered one because it's not a page of the script. You should have contact information, usually just an email address, possibly a phone number. So yeah, and this should be centered lower on the page also. All right, so the first big problem here is that this is not the correct format. And I know some of these things are subjective, but some of them are not. You would never put this in a script. This should be, everything should be left justified. So all of this stuff needs to be down here, down here, down here. So I can see this whole thing is basically it's basically a play. It doesn't look like a screenplay, just paging through a little bit of it. And I know this is based on Shakespeare or something, so I'll have that in mind. But if someone from a production company or an agency or whatever opened this and saw this formatting, I would be very, very, very surprised if that person would read it. I think it would end up in the automatic pass pile. So I'm going to try to put all that stuff aside as I continue. Having said that, all of this needs to be left justified. Nothing is centered except the dialogue, and only the voices are centered. All of this has to be left justified right here. We hear a voice. We hear a voice. I don't know what timeless or observing. Calm but weary. I would take all of this out. I don't even know if you need this because it's obvious we're going to hear this voice, right? And what are we seeing? It's a black screen. So it's exterior, it's a black screen, and it's night. So are we literally seeing nothing? And why are we outside if it's a black screen? Do you mean a blank screen? Do you mean we're just looking at nothing? As opposed to a screen that's made out of black. Don't know. Only players have their X. So I assume this is an actual quote from Shakespeare. I'm not super up on Shakespeare, but it looks very familiar. Flashback. How do we know it's a flashback, and what is going to delineate it as a flashback? All right, this is a problem. These periods are all messed up. That's kind of annoying. This one's fine, this one's fine, that one's fine, but these are all messed up. As you see, the soft, warm stage light brightens her face. Cyrano plays Romeo below her, lit by the dim glow of light. The audience is silent, drawn in by the scene's intimacy. So it's a shot that includes the stage with the balcony, and it includes the audience, and we can see the audience. We just can't hear them, I guess. It's interesting. Cyrano is playing Romeo. That's a unique idea. What loves like when did I order person? Okay, I assume these are the actual lines from the play, so I'm not going to critique those, of course. Begins to climb the ladder to Amelia while saying he lines. his lines, I guess, saying the lines or his lines. Fiery passion as he gazes upon Amelia's face, begins to look at him. How do you begin to look at someone? You would just look at him as if it wasn't his cue to climb. How that is a pretty a confused look. I mean, maybe she looks at him and then she looks down at the stage and then back at him and like points or something. I don't know how we're going to get all of what you've written out of her look. They saw thee here. I would not for the world they saw thee here. Approaches too close and without hesitation grabs her face and kisses her. The audience gasps, thinking it's part of the show, but Amelia frees her eyes open. She doesn't kiss back. Whispers, "You're mine now, Juliet." Flinches just for a moment before the sights flight to back. Some performances aren't for the crowd. They're for the ones who refuse to leave the stage. All right. I don't know if that's I guess a quote from Shakespeare. This is kind of clever. If it was formatted correctly and this wasn't causing me so much angst, I would be kind of drawn in. So we've got Cyrano breaking sort of character by playing Romeo and then not repeating the right lines. Cut to. So how far of a flashback is this? Is this in Shakespeare's time? Did they have black box theaters then? Give us a little time frame if it's important. Give us a reference. And then you don't put cut to here. You put it on a line by itself over here. And you don't put present day here. You would say interior car night. And if you wanted to put present day, you'd put present day. But again, are these, I don't know, it's just confusing. Is the audience dressed as if it was the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, etc.? And so now how old is Amelia? We don't know because we don't know. There's no indication of how old she is here. And because of that, we don't know how far into the future or how far of a flashback that was. Stares blankly, lost in thought. I don't think you need... It's going to be obvious she's lost in thought. So happy together. How are you going to buy the rights for that music? I would probably not have that. I would not include this line right here. Quickly sits up straighter. Yeah, this is a lot of this is just overwritten. Lots of adjectives and adverbs that are unnecessary. Her body is tense, legs crossed, hands clenched in her lap. Have they been like this the whole time, or did she just do that after he called her name? His gaze unsettling. Is she looking at him? Is the audience seeing his unsettling gaze, or is Amelia seeing it? Didn't want you dazing off on me. I don't know why. The rain intensifies as they pull into her driveway. So we're in a car. Are we in a neighborhood? Are we in a farmland, country, city? We don't know. If he turns off the engine, the radio is probably going to go off, won't it, or not? I had a great time tonight. He reaches forward, traces a face with a finger. She flinches. Oh, thanks. I had a good time too. Shift. So, what does this mean? Shifts away, turns away? Does she move toward the door? And most importantly, this should not be a parenthetical. This should be a line of action over here. He cuts her off. How does he cut her off? By placing a finger on her lips? If so, then the action would be Cyrano puts a finger on her lips. But if his finger's on the lips, then he's got to remove it, obviously. He reels back. Why does he stare down at his hands? What? No parasites on the do I saw you looked at. So again, this does not go here. This goes as a line of action. And again, she's already yelled, and yet you give yelling action down here. So this is all this formatting again is this should be action, this should be action. This, and by the way, this formatting of the dialogue is all wrong. Not only is it centered wrong, or it shouldn't be centered, this is like way too much dialogue for one line. If you don't have a screenwriting program, which obviously you don't, which is not a big deal because I didn't for a long time and a lot of people don't, you could get still some sort of free version that would let you get this formatting right. Because again, no serious person is going to read this if it comes to them in this format. So I won't make any more comments, but if you're going to say he yells, put it before the dialogue. But we know he yells because there's an exclamation point. So just get rid of that. How do you try to reach for the door? She starts to reach for the door. He grabs her arm. We pretty much know that he's quoting because it's in quotation marks. He's gripping her harder now. She can't breathe. Is he choking her? He's grabbing her by the arms. I don't understand why she can't breathe. Now he's shaking her. He's screaming in her face. Yeah, this is just kind of putting this nicely. A sign of an aspiring young writer is that it's overwritten. It's way too descriptive. It sort of reads like a novel and a screenplay combined, sort of like a mashup. But a lot of this, you just need to leave to the actors. So here's an instance. We hear the crack, and then we read he slaps her across the face. Instead, he slaps her across the face, whack or crack or whatever you want to say. Or he just slaps her, because where else would you slap her? Her head whips to the side, slamming into the side mirror. Whoa, how would that happen? So she's either got the window completely open and her head goes so far out the window that it hits the side mirror, or she's standing outside, neither of which really has been set up here. So I would, you're going to have to rethink that. Touches her cheek, her own blood, her own breath. She touches her breath? She elbows him back. Did he elbow her? She's just opening the door. She stumbles out into the rain, so Cyrano's got to crawl across the passenger seat and get out. He can't just chase her, I don't think. Moments later, I would leave out the moments later. And where are we in the house? Are we in the living room, the bedroom, the basement, the kitchen, dining room? She slams the door, locks it. We don't need to know breathing hard because that'll be obvious. And you don't need to know that he's crying out her name because he's going to say that in his dialogue. Her body is stiff. Well, if she's laying motionless, then yeah, probably so. She turns over again and again. She would roll off the bed if that was the case. I don't know how you would really do that. The echo of her voice, yeah, I would just leave all this off and just have the voiceover. I think all screams are sudden, right? You can't really build up to a scream, it just comes out. So get rid of the sudden. I would get rid of the frustrated also. Yeah. I mean, you could say she breathes it in, but the rest of this is not really needed. She curls up in bed. You don't need too much more than that. How does the air in the room shift? Is there some sort of a wind gathering device that we can see visibly shift? Is there a little flag pennant or something that shifts, or how do we know that? So it's her breath literally fogs. Interesting. When it begins to frost, something is in the room. I don't think we need that. A shadow falls over her tall figure, motionless, just eyes glow red. He would have killed you. Screams. Scream fades in the bird song. Floodlights, Mila sits up in bed, drenched in swift gasping, looks around, nothing's there. Text from Violet and Sebastian. There's scene over coffee. What? I've never seen this in a script, unless you're literally going to have a subtitle or a super on the screen. Never seen that. I wouldn't say late morning. And again, all this is, of course, over here. Sunlight streams through the windows. Indie music comes softly in the background. Hums? Is it really humming? Sits across from Viola and Sebastian. So you haven't given us any ages or any descriptions at all. At the very, very least, you need to capitalize the names of people who are going to be speaking characters or have some fairly major role. And you need to give us some description. Are they, not that it matters what race they are, or maybe it doesn't matter what age they are, but give us something to hang on to there. Wait a minute. Her hands are wrapped tightly around a coffee mug untouched. How is that possible? She hasn't drank any of the coffee yet? I guess that's what you're saying. But you see, when you say untouched in a coffee mug, she's obviously touching it. So that is a little confusing. If her fingers are wrapped tightly, how can they be trembling? I'm not sure. I still don't get it. Everyone thought you two were a thing after that play. And this should not be italicized. I don't know why that's italicized. In fact, all of this, now that I notice that, none of this should be italics. Pulls out her phone, shows a long stream of obsessive messages, such as, maybe give us some examples. Oh, so now they're reading. Now they're sorry, they're reading the messages now. Let me read one more page. You got us. No grown man should ever put his hands on you without your permission, maybe. Whispers. Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to stop reading here. Obviously, as you have heard, you've got major issues with formatting, layout, just how it visually appears on the page. That is all relatively easy fix. That's the good news. Take out all of these italics, fix your spacing, and do all of that because, again, no one is going to read your script with very few exceptions unless it looks like a screenplay, which it doesn't right now. Um, in terms of content, I think the dialogue is not bad. It's nothing super original. It doesn't seem super cliched. It doesn't seem super on the nose, but it feels very sort of pedestrian that you've heard in a lot of. I assume these, I don't know how old these kids are or these young adults, if they're in their early 20s, late teens, I have no idea. I don't think you ever say. So I don't really get a feel for any of them. Yeah, there's no indication here. So that's a big problem. If they were 20 years old, I'd expect them pretty much to talk like this, or maybe early 20s. But if they're teenagers, are they late 20s? Are they whatever? So that definitely needs to be addressed. Um, I guess, I mean, it's sort of interesting. It's not super unique story right now. There's a lot of cases where young adults or whoever, two people are in a play and one of them falls in love or thinks he or she is with the other one. And then it turns out that not so much. And maybe there's a unique twist coming, but we're on page 10 where you're generally getting some sort of a catalyst or inciting incident if you're kind of a structure person. But I don't really see anything that is like going to kick this into a new dimension other than we do see that Cyrano is watching her. So is he going to stalk her or has he got bad intent? Is he going to try to make up with her or become a different person? We don't know. And is Cyrano, is that just a coincidence that his name is Cyrano? Does that have anything to do with Cyrano de Bergerac or whatever the name of that play or that character is? And then you've got him right down here whispering, which I don't know why you don't have that in dialogue. And then it looks like we're flashing back to maybe when they first met. So if this had been in the correct format and I wouldn't have had to stumble through all of these oddities, shall we say, I think it's at least mildly interesting. Is again, if we know their age, approximate age, and I don't think it would hurt to put in some physical characteristics if those are important. or something so we can picture this person as we're reading. Because right now I literally have no clue how old they are. I'm just guessing. And what sort of situation are they in? Are they in high school? Are they in college? Is this a community theater or exactly what? So a lot of, I wouldn't say mystery, because mystery can be good, but this is more confusion, which is generally bad. So I would say if all of the formatting was fixed and it looked like a screenplay, I would probably be tempted to at least read through another chunk to see what happens in the story, because it is at least mildly intriguing. But at this point, it's just too hard to read without stumbling and making these comments. So that is where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go back here and hit stop after I say I hope that was of some use. And you've obviously put a lot of work into this. And it's only just begun, so keep on working on it, and see you around.